Hello there, how's your day? Ame Gakita. And hi, Pearson, hello there, how's your day? And Toasty-san, hi, hello there, how's your day, everyone? So, today, night chat have a definite topic to talk about, and as you guys can see on the screen, definition of VTuber. And what Pearson said actually is actually correct. I think if you guys actually seen this one, I actually put up a link on Twitter that if you guys actually interested, you guys can download the link accordingly. But if you guys are actually do want to see, I will show this one. Let me put up the link for you guys in the case that you guys want to download it accordingly. So let me share the link so that in the case that you guys want to really off stream, you guys can look it up after the stream or something along the line. But definitely I can show you guys that this one is I just kind of like did it accordingly to base on, and at the same time I do want to highlight that this one is actually mostly on the personal point of view and idea, all these things, so don't need to take it at face value. You guys can still come up with your own definition. It is all right. Now that being said, for today we are going to talk about the definition of VTuber, because more so that if you actually look up on a lot of people making noise lately on the internet about is that person is not VTuber, or that person trying to be a fake VTuber, that person is streaming using a VTuber, so he made that him or her a VTuber or them VTuber along the line. We are going to consider is posting of a real life face still count as a VTuber. It's really kind of like something that a lot of people tend to make an argument about it, and we want to understand that what is VTuber at this point of time. I'm sure that a lot of people tend to have a lot of different point of view, and I feel like we need to have a proper understanding. For me, who had lived in Japan in 2007, since 2017 for 6 years, until when I returned to Singapore, I have looked throughout how VTuber grow over that period. Even after I leave Japan, I still see a lot of people end up making a lot of issue about what is a VTuber, and I think it's like something that we tend to see a lot of people making over the noise about. If you're actually looking at online noise, yeah, they are still using their avatar, and there are some they are just streaming using their real life face or using their avatar. So it's kind of like a lot of people have many point of view, but it always tend to lead to this yes and no. Yes being that people who show their face they are still using their avatar, and no because they review their face. And it's really kind of like that is kind of like there's no right and wrong answer, but I can tell you guys one thing is that my answer is just basically a yes and no. Okay, because the thing is, right, if they are consistent on using their model avatar to stream or create video, then it is fine to consider them as VTuber. But what a lot of people need to understand is sometimes people still review their real life face, be it intended or by accident. Accident tend to be the one that lead to a lot of scenario. But most of the time, a lot of people need to understand that when one tend to stream using their real life face, then obviously they are more of a streamer who use a model in a way. And hi, hello there, how's your day? So a lot of people need to understand one thing is that the definition of VTuber tend to mean in that sense is that what is VTuber? VTuber, or virtual YouTuber for short, was pioneered by Kitsuna Ai, and in a way the most definite answer is a use of avatar model for video or live stream. And a lot of people tend to have a lot of issue about this definition, because thing is, right, VTuber has ever since was created by I calling myself a VTuber because it's virtual YouTuber. But she want to make it short because in Japan, a lot of Japanese people like to cut things into short form. So VTuber was formed by converting the actual word in Japanese, virtual YouTuber. But because they think of virtual V, they just say, hey, VTuber, they just cut it. Because in a sense, they won't say VTuber, they just cut it the U and replace it with the V and became VTuber. So in a way, it became a virtual YouTuber that a lot of people tend to have a lot of thinking what is a VTuber. It's just basically a virtual YouTuber. That's all. If you think of it in a way, it's just basically you are using a model, not your real life face, to present yourself. So a lot of people tend to have an understanding thinking that, hey, then if they do show their face, all these things, it kind of like lead to a lot of scenario. Is it like, are they VTuber or not along the line? But the thing is, right, when it comes to VTuber, there's a lot of people thinking like, hey, they can basically be a human to represent themselves, or they can, for some reason, think of like cat, animal, or whatever. So there is a lot of different type of VTuber in a way that they are trying to use it as a way to persona their personality, because a lot of people tend to have a lot of different mindset of how they want to present themselves. Because the thing is, right, if you present yourself as a being, as a human, it's kind of not wrong. That's why when you look, if you guys look at a lot of the older VTuber at back then, they tend to be representing like cat, animal, whatever along the line. When initially, if you guys look at the previous part, when I-chan present herself, human. When Suisen and Miko, they present themselves, human. But after midway, they decided to say like Marin or Pekko or whatever, they are all rabbit, animals, being, all these things. It's like kind of like they want to show that, hey, because we are not just using a human to represent ourselves, they are thinking like, hey, maybe you can use different kind of VTuber, different beasts, whatever, to create themselves, and that lead to further evolution of VTubing, which is basically that you don't need to be a human to present yourself. You can be an animal, you can be a cat, you can be a dog, you can be a god, you can be a demon, you can be a whatever along the line, and it basically mean nothing. You can just use anything to present yourself, and that's how VTubing is, because the V is basically virtual, it's not real. Okay, so a lot of people tend to have a lot of weird mindset about thinking that VTuber is just all these things. Even if like the people thinking like, does that mean that people start using any weird thing? Yeah, even if you're a peanut, like the burnt peanut or toast peanut, whatever the peanut is called, or even if you are using an apple or anything else, you are basically not using your real life face 100%. In a way, you still can't be considered you're a in real life streamer, but you're more towards a virtual YouTuber. Virtual YouTuber, that's what it means, because you are not using your real life face. That is what it means. That's why a lot of people tend to have a lot of understanding, misunderstanding of that. Is the peanut considered a VTuber? In a way, if you consider the actual word itself, it can be considered. Okay, so it tends to meet a lot of people having a lot of different mindset, thinking like, is this yes or is it no? No, there's no such thing. But the thing is, right, for today's topic, we are going to talk about is people who show their real life face still count. The definition of like Bao the Will or even K-Song, I will have to use K-Song in this such scenario. Okay, so when they show their real life face, are they still considered YouTuber, or are they considered a VTuber? But the thing is, right, we have to understand one thing. Do they do it with intention, or are they doing it by accident? Okay, a lot of people tend to need to understand there is a lot of issue about intended or accident. It's because the thing is, right, people who decide to reveal their real life face as well as decided to stepping into virtual using model for content, they are still considered intended. Okay, meaning to say that if they are in real life streamers such as Ludwig or even Kai Canet, even when they kind of like start using a VTuber, are they considered VTuber? In a way, that is intended way of being trying to be a VTuber. But there is also people who accidentally became a VTuber showing their real life face, where because it can be due to accident, technical issue, or for some reason they suddenly show their face by mistake along the line. It happened, okay? It happened to anyone without realizing it. So that is called unintended, but I will always tend to call it the accident. Okay, so this is one of the things that a lot of people need to understand. Do they do it by intended or do they do it by accident? This one we have to highlight in a way is that people tend to kind of like trying to say like, oh, they want to reveal their face along the line, but the thing is, right, not everyone want to reveal their face. Okay, K Song, when she showed her face for the first time, it was by a total accident. That was at the time considered an accidental reveal. Okay, but the thing is, right, we have to understand what is called the true definition of VTubing. This is kind of like one thing a lot of people tend to have a lot of misunderstanding is that there is really no definition. Okay, when it was first created, as Kitsuna Ai created the word VTubing, it just go from a person using a model to create video or live stream for people to enjoy. But the thing is, right, if the person behind the model decide to reveal it themselves with their to reveal their real life face, is their own choice, regardless of how we think about it. If the VTuber decided to reveal with full intention, like in real life face versus their VTuber face, or they want to do live stream with their face on along the line, that is intended. And it is more towards like the question we have to ask, are they still considered a VTuber at this point of time? If they still technically using not their real life face, but they still using a model as the baseline, then we can definitely say that, hey, maybe it was kind of like just a one-time scenario to do that. But the thing is, right, a lot of people need to understand that, no, I mean, what does hand or feet or leg review, does that still count? The one thing is, this one we have to draw a huge line in a way, because this one is actually more on near the gray area. But to me, as long as they don't show their face, it's kind of like funny. You can show your leg, you can show your feet, but the thing is, right, when you show it, people don't know your face unless your hand or your feet got some sort of special scar or special marking that people want to look. If they go out and see it, they may mistake you or mistake another person with a similar scar as the VTuber. It could lead to misunderstanding. But the thing is, right, when it comes to real life face, as what Pio-san you mentioned, it is an identity. People will know how you look like, who you look like. Unless you're telling me that there is other people who look like you, then there's a whole new different story. But most of the time, it can lead to that scenario. Okay, so it tends to mean that when people review their hand, all these things, it can lead to that. And typhoon do happen in all over the world, okay, but I can only pray for your safety. That's all I can say for you. So in a way, the thing is, that is the reason why most of the agency or even some VTuber decided to just wear a sword or wear a glove to cover it out, so that they can kind of like do showcase a real life review, but in the sense that it's not really true review. Is they don't really want to review themselves. Now the thing is, right, there is the issue on lately about Bow the Wheel, all these things about people saying like lately there was one VTuber talking about showing his face, or there are drama in toxic, all these things. Before we start into full detail about all these things, right, a lot of people need to understand one thing: rotten apple everywhere. I do not care which country you are in. I do not care which community you are in. I do not care whatever this word is, rotten everywhere all over the world. Okay? So the thing is, right, when not about the wheel is another new VTuber, he go and decide to review himself and saying that VTuber is a toxic place, is a bad place, all these things. The thing is, right, even when Bao the Wheel mentioned about VTuber is also have a lot of toxic people, the one thing is, right, I will have to attack them right now. They are just idiots who think that VTuber community have a lot of rotten apple, when in fact, rotten apple is everywhere. In real life community as well as in the VTuber community, is everywhere, okay? So a lot of people need to understand one thing is that when it comes to all these things, right, about real life face, all these things, there are people who consider like in over the internet making noise about VTubers showing their face. The thing is, right, they will start causing a lot of rotten apple and noise over it. So I want you guys to be very cautious and take note of this, because the thing is, right, it will happen anywhere. Okay? But the thing is, right, now we have to jump back again to, do face reviews still count as VTuber? In a way, it is a yes and no answer. So the thing is, right, if the person review it by intended or accidental and still consisting using their VTuber model to stream, create content or video for their viewers, then they are still considered as a VTuber, because they are using the VTuber model as the baseline. But if they keep streaming using real life face more often, then they are more of a person who stream with real life face and VTuber model. That's all. It's just basically a lot of people tend to make noise about it. Like, oh, that's then Ame. In a way, does that not mean that they're not? The thing is, right, a lot of people need to understand there is one such thing called the 2.5D VTuber. We have to use K-Song for this example. So K-Song is well known for streaming with real life face as well as using her VTuber model. And the thing is, right, when she decides to stream, if she want to use her real life face, then she's a real life face streamer. But if she uses a VTuber model, then in a sense that means that she is more of a VTuber. But the thing is, right, I have to highlight that it is not a full VTuber at this point of time. So in Japan, there is actually one thing a lot of people tend to have a misunderstanding about the word in Japan, why they use 2.5D, is that normally when we use the word 3D, right, we are not using the 3D model that you guys are looking at me right now. I am considered a 3D model. I'm a 3D VTuber. But 2.5D is not about that she is using a 3D with a 2D at the same time. In Japan, when we use the word 3D, a lot of people have a misunderstanding about the word 3D is that in Japan, the word 3D can mean real life. Because this is one of the things that a lot of people tend to misunderstand when it comes to the word term anime, the word 2D, 3D. When we refer to anime or game, it refers to a 2D, it's on the screen. But when we refer to 3D, it's not referring to the game model 3D. It's referring to our real life. We are the 3D. A real life person in the IRL. They are called the 3D. That's why for K-Song, is she considered a streamer or a VTuber? To me, she cannot be considered a full VTuber. She cannot be considered a full-term VTuber because she, in a sense, is considered 2.5D, which is half a VTuber. Not fully, but she is still half of it. Because she still use her VTuber model, but she sometimes do stream her real life face. So it's kind of like it's called 2.5. Which this time around, we will be talking is Bao the Wheel still considered a VTuber. that got a lot of people making noise over the internet now. A lot of people need to understand that if Bao the Wheel show her real life face with intention, but she still stream and create content using her Bao the Wheel, the avatar, this model that you see on screen, as the wheel, then in a way she can be considered a 2.5D, just like K Song. She just kind of like show her face, all these things, a 2.5D VTuber. But here's the thing. She is no longer considered a VTuber, including 2.5D, when she decided to post more real life stuff with her real life face more than her VTuber model. If she do her live stream constantly using her real life face more, if she don't post much thing using her model anymore, if she start posting and create a lot of content using her real life face more, and not using her model that much, she is no longer considered a VTuber. This is the one thing that a lot of people need to understand. That is the true definition of VTubing. So I'm not trying to attack Bao the Wheel in fully, but I need to let people understand that there's no point on attacking her at all. As long as Bao the Wheel and everyone else understand that if she decides to stream more using her real life face, she is more considered a streamer. But if she decided to go just like K Song and just go with real life face and model at the same time, then we can consider a 2.5D VTuber, which is half a VTuber, half a streamer. That is the true definition of VTubing. Whether do real life face show consider it or not. But the one thing a lot of people tend to make noise about Bao the Wheel removing her VTuber tag, all these things, she is no longer considered VTuber. If she start posting a lot more real life stuff, if she start posting more on real life things, then she can no longer be considered a VTuber anymore. But if she do half and half, just like K Song, then I would say that maybe she can be considered a 2.5D. That's the thing that we all have to be very, very cautious. Even Bao the Wheel have to take note. So the thing is, right, this one tend to get a lot of people understand that on that end. And as I mentioned, that is about some people, a streamer decide to use a VTuber model. Does that make them a VTuber, or does that mean them a streamer, all these things? If they constantly stream with their real life face more often than their VTuber model, then they are more of a streamer who own a VTuber model. But if they stream consistently with their VTuber model without their real life face much, then they are more of transition to become a VTuber. But if they do both, sometimes like avatar and real life face at the same time, depending on their mood, then obviously they can be considered a 2.5D VTuber. So a lot of people need to understand is that 2.5D really is considered half a VTuber, but not really considered a full VTuber. Because VTubing, as I mentioned at the start earlier, was basically make use of a virtual avatar model for video or live stream. That was the true definition of VTubing. That's why it's like a lot of people need to understand that the showing of the V, does it still count? If it's intended and they choose to just show their real life face every day, then they can't be considered a VTuber anymore, because they are more considered a streamer or a content creator. But if they start constantly sticking just to their VTuber model, their 2D model, 3D model, then they are still considered VTuber, regardless of how anyone thinks. It's just that they will be more considered of the word 2.5D, because they sometimes stream using their physical model or this thing. It's kind of like 2.5D. It's half a VTuber, regardless of how we think about it. That's why a lot of people tend to make noise over Baldovie at the time. I'm not trying to like defend her or attack her. It's actually even she need to understand that when it comes to VTubing, if you stop using your VTuber model and showing your real life face, then you're more of a streamer, more of a content creator, not a VTuber anymore. That's why a lot of people tend to make noise about whether this and that. Is that it's really kind of like, whether do you guys consider that or not, it's really kind of hard. But the one thing a lot of people need to understand for me is, right, face reveal, is it okay for VTuber? To me, there's really no yes and no. It's actually, the answer is better not. Because the thing is, right, you can do so at your own risk and your own choice, but VTuber is basically virtual YouTuber, which means that you are using a model avatar to represent yourself than using your real life face. It is more better to stick to the avatar model than doing face reveal. Because the thing is that a lot of people tend to have a misunderstanding about VTubing, all these things. But the thing is, right, if you are considered a VTuber, you are a virtual YouTuber. You are not a you are not showing your real life face. Then it's more considered that you're most don't show your face review at all, regardless of how you guys think. That's why the thing is, right, even for me, when people ask me like why I don't do face review, all these things, the thing is, right, as much as some people believe that even Ame Go thinking that VTuber is just basically people hiding their face, all these things, and showing your real life face is better, all these things, right? The thing is, right, to me, when you show your real life face, people will know how you look like. Your identity is revealed. Everyone will know how you look like, including your haters, your anti, or even your stalker. And when you go out, if you are very popular, if you are very famous, people will ask you for either a handshake, or people may end, if people, yeah, they are anti or stalker, all these things, they will end up causing you problem. And that, to me, is a huge con. That's why, like, to me, if you guys want to ask around, like, I only review my face to a few of the people. It's kind of like off stream meeting up along the line, but I do not tell a lot of people who I am. Even when I tell my family, when I tell a lot of people who are my friend, I tell them, oh, I'm a VTuber, but I never tell which avatar I'm using. I never tell them what is my model name. I did not tell them which channel is my channel. If they want to support me, I will tell them, but I will also highlight that kindly do not reveal my real life face to anyone. That was the rule set. That's why a lot of things is, right, that is really kind of like something that a lot of people need to understand, that when it comes to this kind of thing, a lot of people tend to make a lot of weird noise. But the thing is, right, then, I mean, what if people decide to stop using their VTuber model? The one thing is, like, in Japan, when a talent, a VTuber agency talent leave the VTuber agency or the company, is mostly referred as a graduation. Okay, so the thing is, right, when a talent, be it in VTuber model, it can be a real life idol, it can be due to an artist, it can be anyone. When they leave the company, in the entertainment industry, it is considered a graduation. They leave the company, they graduate. They will not return. But even if they do return, they will be considered like annually, in the sense they kind of like they remember the company, they work in the company, they all these things. So it's kind of like graduation. They still have some time, but they never reveal themselves much. Okay, so what do they do after that? Is be it continuing using another VTuber, which is known as redebuting or rebranding or real life streamer or other stuff, whether it's real life stuff, is their choice. Okay, but the thing is, right, is the announcement a must? Depend. Really, like, no yes and no answer. The thing is, right, a lot of VTubers tend to leave their career silently. Okay, there are some that decided to not review it at all, and they just say, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm not becoming a VTuber anymore." That's it only. But some people like Niji-sanji or mostly on the Hololive, when the talent leave, it's mostly either by termination, not determination, termination, where they are fired, then obviously they can't do it. Then it will be considered a silent leaving. But if most of the case, if they are graduating and they want to go on a high note, then obviously they will try to make a last video or live stream as a closure. That is always how it went. So the thing is, right, normally living on a good note is better than making noise, and that including Google Docs, drama, and noise. The thing, that is the reason why, like, if such a thing do happen, which is like termination or whatever, it is better to just leave quietly and highlight it to some rotten apple. The rotten apple doesn't mean that it's just rotten apple. It's basically, it can be fired, or it can be due to they are the bad people or thing. It's kind of like, just we know that who they are. This such person have left the place. But if they do return as a rebranding, all these things, the continuing of become another VTuber, independent or another company along the line, is their choice. But at the very least, it is always tend to best live on a good note, of silently to as a good way. That's always been the way to go. Yeah, the thing is, right, a lot of people tend to have a whole new different thing, is that at the end of the day, it's really, in my point of view, it's better not to have a face review. But everyone can make their own choice. The only issue that I always hate over the internet is people always regretting it. I don't know why. Because the thing is, right, if we consider like K-Song, who revealed her face by accident for the first time when she was part of Hololive, and then she continued and became like, tend to use her model more and maybe one or twice showing her real life face, because we all know how she looked like, then I think that's a fair point. It's that she can be considered a 2.5D, a half a VTuber. At least I would definitely say that she is a half a VTuber. That's the same thing for Val the Wheel. Like, if Val the Wheel decided to consistently streaming using her model more than using her real life face, then I think that she can be considered herself as a 2.5D VTuber. At least that's how I thought she would have went. But then she removed her word term VTuber, all these things, and then she's no longer considered herself a VTuber, all these things, then that's her own choice. If she start crying over it, if she start making noise over it, that's her own choice. That's her own regret. Because I always, as I highlight over here, just don't regret it. But from how I look at Val the Wheel, it seems to me that Val the Wheel is regretting it. Her drama, all these things creating, that's her own problem. The thing is, right, that's the reason why I prefer not to review my face. The thing, and why no face review is like, when I say it's better not, right, like it's really considered like it's better not. It's because the thing is, right, like for Val the Wheel, because everyone know how she look like now. For people who hate her, if they see her in real life, they will say, "Oh, you know that person is Val the Wheel, the most infamous person in VTubing community before." Isn't that considered a bad thing? People will behind talk badly about you. Hi, hello there, how's your day? So the thing is, right, that's why for a VTuber, if you guys want to understand one thing, is that even top talent in Hololive, Holostar, or even Niji-sanji, or any other VTuber, even Iron Mouse herself, they know 100% for sure is that if they show their face, it will lead to what I said before. People will know how you look like. When you go out, even hater, anti, or stalker will find you because they know how you look like. Even if your fan will say that, oh, I saw, like for example, if I show my face and this out of nowhere someone see me and say, oh, Ame Gakita is at part of somewhere in Singapore. Or if I go in Japan, oh, Ame Gakita is in Osaka or in Tokyo or wherever. And if people like me, they come and find me, I think I can do a handshake, all this thing. But if there is hater, if they come and throw rotten apple or rotten tomato or even punch me, isn't that considered a huge no-no? That's why if I don't show my face, the one good thing is you guys need to understand is that there may be people who may have almost the same voice as me, but the thing is, right, you won't know how I look like. I go out, no one will know who I am. They won't know how I am. They will not know what you'll be like. At the very least, it is a safety net. VTuber model is technically, as what I'm going to say, a safety net. At least when I go out, I don't need to wear a mask. I don't need to hide myself. Some people are very popular. They go out, they need to wear a mask. People will be asking, are you sick? Do you need to go to hospital? You need to see a doctor? You got something wrong? In Japan, there are a lot of people Japanese people who wear masks even when they are not sick, so it's kind of like normal. But when you're all over the other places, like USA, Singapore, all these things, not everyone wear masks. During the COVID period, maybe everyone wear masks, but COVID period over already. No one want to wear masks. That's how things work. So for VTubing, it's technically your VTuber model is your mask. When you go out, when people say, hey, your voice sound like who? Oh, you can just hide. You can use as an excuse. Oh, yeah, people always tell me that my voice sound like the who, but I'm not that person. That's how it works. That's why a lot of people tend to have a lot of weird noise over the internet, thinking that showing your real life face, are you still considered VTuber? Are you considered a VTuber? No, the thing is, right, if you choose not to, if you decide to do accidental all this thing, in a way you can consider like case on a 2.5D. But if you need to consistently using your 2D or 3D model more often. Once or twice using your real life face, fine. But you're more towards a half a VTuber, a 2.5D. But for what the real, if she start using her real life face more, not using her model more, then obviously she's considered a streamer now, a real life content creator. That's what it should be. That's why a lot of people tend to make a lot of weird noise, all this thing. It's just basically, at the end of the day, it's just basically people just over the internet don't want be a rotten apple, but it just don't regret it. When people start regretting it and start making noise, at the end of the day, it's just basically they're just causing problem at the end of the day. So at the end of the day, for how I would just say, it's just basically it's more about having fun and just enjoying with viewers. And that's what I've always been doing throughout 5 years plus of a VTuber. That's what it always has been, at least in my point of view. But anyway, that's basically end it. So for definition, I think I didn't want to drag it too long, but at least around I was thinking around 1 hour, less than 1 hour of anything. But just in case anyone got any question for since I was on YouTube, anyone got any question about what I say over the presentation, or do you guys still want to highlight that maybe some of the my point of view seem wrong in you guys' point of view? Write in the comment. We can discuss it right now, because for everyone who watch this as an archive and not on the live stream, kindly write in the comment section. We can discuss it further. So hi, hello there, how's your day? So the thing is, right, a lot of times a lot of people need to understand that the real life face show, at least a lot of people need to understand that when face reveal, if it's just for a short while, to me it's still technically considered like half a 2.5D though. I mean, like, the funny thing is, right, I have to use K-Song as the example for this is because she tend to do her real life face review live stream more than using her model. There are also most of the time she do use her model a lot more than usual. So in a way, she is half a VTuber, but she is no longer considered a full VTuber. At least that's how I think. Because the one thing is, right, at the end of the day, it's really like a lot of people making noise, all these things. But as what Pilsar you mentioned, Avatar is always tend to separate ourselves, all these things. It's, as I mentioned, it's really like it's what so then you mentioned, it's basically our internet identity, and it's actually much considered better that if we use our model more, so that at least in my point of view is that when I go out, I won't need to worry about people knowing who I am though. Because the thing is, right, a lot of people need to understand one simple thing. There is another con that I can tell you guys right now. Imagine if that VTuber, let's say for example, okay, DSA or a PDF or Central before, or was considered convicted criminal before, and they change into VTuber, and then they do a face review to show who they are, and they are actually rotten apple as well. Will you guys still consider that person a good person or not? Because the thing is, right, imagine in the case that you are, let's say for example, you are a person, there's a person who is a PDF. Number one, for police, they will be very happy because they can immediately take note of that person, how they look like. But for that person, it will be more towards like, and when he go out to anywhere, let's say supermarket, restaurant, or even to anywhere by transport, people who see he or her or them face, they will immediately know who they are. What's their VTuber model name, all these things. They will be immediately have a bad day. So the one thing is, right, a lot of people need to understand is that even for me, when I'm thinking about when I have to highlight, like for Bao the Wheel, right, as long as she don't regret it, which she seemingly seems to regret it a lot nowadays. But the one thing is, right, for K-Song, the funny thing is when she revealed a lot of, there's way more people who like her than those who hate her. But the thing is, right, Bao the Wheel had caused a lot of drama, say a lot of bad thing, because she's a mean girl persona, and it kind of like showcased that, oh, in real life she is also a mean girl. She's not a good person. To me, when now I know how she looked like, if in real life I see her, I will walk away. I will not get near to her. I will avoid her. But the thing is, right, if I do not know how she looked like and I meet her in for real, it'll become like as accidental interchange of fate because I would not know how she looked like. But at the end of the day, it's really kind of like something that I will have to highlight. It is something that it happened to me before in the past. And it's really some of the things that a lot of people need to understand, that sometimes not showing your face can really tell you that maybe in real life, when you meet out the person, it may be it can be considered a good thing or a bad thing, okay? Hi, hello there, how's the day? Because the thing is, right, last time when I have mostly Japanese viewers, when I started as a Japanese, when I at the time when I was living in Japan, and then when I started as a Japanese viewer, sorry for people who know about this, okay? When I meet up with one Japanese female VTuber back then, I do not know how she looked like. I do not know, she doesn't know how I look like. But when I meet her for the real first time, immediately I have a lot of red flag raising against me, telling me that I must avoid her. And then what happened? She caused a fake allegation that I hate her, where I lose a lot of Japanese viewers because I'm a foreigner. I'm not a Japanese person, and they don't trust a non-Japanese person for the Japanese viewers. So I lost a lot of reputation back then. But does that matter? The only thing that I regret was meeting her for the first time, that person, the other person, but not Balderby, okay, in case anyone wondering. So the thing is, right, when it does happen, it really does, a lot of people need to understand is that reviewing fate, it can be considered best not to. But the thing is, right, when I know how she looked like, at the most in real life, if I meet her for the second time, I would run away from her. I would not want to get near to her. At most, that's how it will be like. But because, like, for example, like Bao will now show how she look like, her face is like, to me, I will just avoid her. I will not crash into her. I will not go and trash her. I'll just avoid her. If I see anyone, any live streamer do content with her, then I will not watch it. That's how it is. That's why it's a lot of people need to understand at the end of the day, right? It's really kind of like when you show your face, your identity is revealed to the whole world. And if you're a bad person or people who hate you, then it will be kind of a moment of like, it will be bad not for me, but it's actually bad for her. At least that's what I think. I'm Naruto, but blue, nah. I didn't create my avatar to look like that. Maybe one day I might have to change my whisper. But I can definitely tell you guys one thing is that I'm actually working on my hair a bit differently. So next time you guys weren't thinking of just blue only though. Yeah, the thing is, right, when I choose the blue color back then, the very old blue, was because of the blue color that they set as default was basically that blue color though. I might change it up a little bit in future. Because actually another model I'm working on, I have to. Okay, another model I'm working on is actually I'm changing the hair color a little bit on the light side, so it will be kind of like a bit different than what you guys might think. But the one thing is that it's really kind of like one of the funny things is that creating a 3D model is not hard, but at the same time it's also not easy as well though, because I have to set some of the setting, I have to set the thing to make it workable and look smooth along the line. If not, it'll be like kind of like, as you guys see, it will be kind of like weird, all these things. Yeah, it is in English. If you don't want to speak in English, kindly go to another live stream. Thank you very much. You want me to speak in the accent that the American people or the Britain people want me to hear from? Is that how you want it? Because I'm an Asia person, so obviously my English doesn't sound like what you guys might listen, unless I change my accent. On the very least, I can speak like this, and most of you guys would not even expect much. But at the very least, it is the accent that some of you guys might think wrongly. But it will also kind of like sound very weird, at least in my point of view. So so that's answer the question already. The thing is, right, the funny thing what you guys might not be aware of, right, when Kitsuna I created the word VTuber at the time, she actually used the word term that is a virtual avatar for live stream, all these things, okay? The funny thing is, right, when VTuber was created for the first time at that time, this one also was because when I was like learning voice acting in Japan as in an anime studio at the time. At the time, they did ask me to try doing a VTuber. Because the thing is, right, back then, they say that you are giving life to a character, to the VTuber model. In a way, it is what in their point of view was practice your voice acting, and at the same time letting people understand what kind of voice you can do, all these things. That's why if I have to showcase some of my past video, if you guys go and look at some of my past video, I did a lot of weird voice, I did a lot of crazy tune, I did a lot of crazy pitch. That was one of the things that I was told to do so. It was kind of like a voice acting practice. That's why at the time, VTuber at the time was actually another way of what you guys may not be aware, okay? We in the VTuber in the industry at the time, for the anime and the manga industry, they consider the VTuber to be voice actor YouTuber. They didn't consider it as a virtual YouTuber. They consider it as a voice actor YouTuber. Because for when at the time when I was learning about back then, a lot of people have a lot of people at the time, because when I was learning anime and manga in 2017, so it was actually the starting of VTuber. And at the time, our sensei did ask us what do we think about VTuber, and he was actually a director from an anime studio. And I just say that isn't it considered a virtual YouTuber by Kitsuna I mentioned that. And he said that a lot of people within the anime industry think that the VTuber, the V, sound like Seiyu, which is basically voice acting. Because they say like in Japanese, voice tuber. Not virtual actor, it's voice YouTuber. So at the time when I was like, when I started as a faceless streamer, they say, I mean, why not you try streaming with a 3D model or a 2D model and consider yourself that you're practicing on your voice acting, as well as that you can be you're not showing your real life face. You're giving life to the character. The thing that you see me right now, I'm giving my voice to this avatar, to this voice. But you guys think of me like an anime character. Some people think of me like a blue Naruto. Some people think of me of a blue hair guy, a blue hair cat, or whatever thing. It's a character. But you guys do not know how I look like. You guys do not know what I look like. It's the same thing as watching an anime. And that's how it is in that industry. That's why when we consider in that point of view, in using that metaphors, in a way there may be some people who decide to show their face. They want to be famous showing their face, which I can understand that. But at the end of the day, is it still considered a VTuber? I would definitely say half a VTuber. Go and get a sweet drink, don't need to worry. We'll take 5. It's already 1 hour already though. Go and get something nice to drink. We'll take 5 minutes. Obviously, anyone else got any question, Q&A, definitely can write in the comment section, we can discuss. But again, in the case anyone do want to know the pin, what you guys see on the screen, it is in the pin mesh there. So if you guys want to download it or show to other people and highlight the point of view of this thing, you can show that as a way. Don't need to worry, the link is for sharing anyway, so you guys do not need to worry too much. I also have to use the word answer for online noises because a lot of people making the argument on this thing. So there's really like no right and wrong answer though at the end of the day. It's actually more towards like how people view it in a way, because yes, if they are using their model, no, if they are then I will consider them as a streamer who just have a 3D have a 2D or 3D model avatar. At least that's how I feel it though, because a lot of time a lot of people tend to have a lot of different point of view, and it's actually considered fine. But at least from how I look at it is right, whether face reveal by accident or intended, it's really kind of like, as long as at the end of the day they just don't regret it. Because it's really kind of like a lot of people tend to make a lot of weird noise over the internet, and it's actually fine if they want to make noise, but is at the end of the day it's really kind of like weird, at least in my point of view though. ちょっと待って。哎呦呀！哎呦 ！Oh my god！你跟打电话玩到你 my nose is actually not feeling well today. Don't need to worry too much, guys. It's just that I need to rest out more. But even if I consider it, it's technically tomorrow onwards, I still have like a lot of stuff to consider. Like the schedule for next week is already planned out already though. Although I haven't confirmed it fully yet. Probably tomorrow I'll post it when I wake up early and then see through it again. What am I playing? Definition of VTubing. If you're into if you don't want to watch it, you can just you can look up at other live streams. Don't need to worry. I already talked finish about this, but if you want to look at it, you can just go through the front. If I play, yes, I did already. How many years ago though? Let me see whether I can find the live stream. So basically, if you need proof, you just type Ame Gakita DDLC. I have live streamed it 4 years plus ago. It's not one live stream, okay? It's basically it was a 2-3 live stream. Or 4. Or 5. Or 6. So technically just go to I think just go to my channel. Live stream. I think you just type DDLC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. In total 6. 6 live stream. Welcome back, Pale-san. So that answered your question, right? Singapore. Yeah, I don't need to learn English anymore though. In the case anyone was still trying to troll me saying that I'm still learning English, I'm really learned English for 20 plus years already, so there's no point on me saying it anymore. I still learn new words sometimes, but for me, I learned Japanese for 11 years already though. Yeah, 11 years. At the very least, I really kind of like even till now I still watch Japanese anime, all these things to watch all these things. Like lately, I'm still watching a lot, quite a few anime though. I feel at least highlight that there's quite a lot of interesting anime. Even the recognition, the reincarnated slime. In case anyone don't know, the Tensei slime. I was actually looking into that one lately because of the it was in my favorite part. New are usually the regular word that are. Yeah, that's basically it though. At least that's how I think, because sometimes I still learn a few, one or two. I see some interesting English word. I'll definitely feel that. But the thing is, right? For the some viewers, they definitely will be thinking like, why is my English sound so? I'm still learning all this thing. If I drink a little bit of water first, just to just to showcase it a little bit. Surely, if I speak like this, most people would definitely be wondering which country am I from. Some people might and all thinking that I may be from Britain or maybe somewhere from Europe. But at the same time, it's definitely a very crazy and weird sound that I personally, just as what Pil-san hate, is I don't like it. But the one thing is, right, I have to at least highlight, that was also part of when I was doing voice acting learning in Japan as well, because they wanted me to test this kind of voice back then as well. By a Japanese producer, okay. A Japanese producer, because the thing is, right, at the time, the director and the producer, they want me to kind of like get used to the part of sometime they will say that they want you to speak in the weirdest voice ever or the weirdest accent, because that is their mindset of how the Western people speak. It's not really like trashing on them, it's actually more of that was how their impression of the Western people are. And number two, yes, as Pilsan you mentioned, is having a different range of voice. So if you can do different voice, different tone, all these things, when the anime, for the producer, for the director, they will actually highlight to the manga art, the manga author or the light novel author, that they is this the range they are looking for. And if the author want it and they say that no one else can do that, they will hire you because of that tone, because of the range. And that's the reason why when I started as a Japanese VTuber at the time, my voice was actually on the higher tone. If you go and ask like Neji or Kira-chan, Neji-san, or Veni, which is basically Rafie or Meme, depending on how whatever her name is right now, they can confirm to tell you guys that my voice back then was on the higher pitch. The pale sun that you can't stand at all though. But it was actually one of the tune that got me to have quite a lot of viewers back then, was because they liked the tune in a funny way. Imagine if I speak like this in that old tone, but it is not something that I tend to do anymore nowadays. But imagine if I speak everything like this, and then you guys will be wondering, like, what kind of voice is this? You guys will be wondering that how can I speak like this? I'm a 37 years old man already in for real, and yet if I speak like this, you guys will be wondering, like, am I really 37? I feel like you guys will be wondering, like, am I having a weird voice at this point of time? Yeah, it was considered entertaining, and it was actually more towards like when I should, like, somebody, let's say for example, like, I'm going to trash out on Hassan Piper. In a way, people will be saying, like, I'm just a very lively person going to trash talk people with in a very weird way. But it was actually, at the time, a way to bring my character to life. That was the old tune that I used back then. But I stopped using it because it was hurting my vocal cord. My voice. It was hurting my voice. Because it actually used up a lot of my voice muscle. As much as it can be considered entertaining, I have heard my voice a lot back then. Because if as much as some people might like it because of the voice can be considered entertaining or maybe too lively, but in a way, in a way it can also hurt my voice as well though. Yeah, it really does suck. Because it's not considered a good thing in the long run, so I never really consider doing it often. Dailies I tend to do in the morning, so not to worry. Just lately I've been watching the Reincarnated Slime as well as another anime that I was watching. The Irumas, the one I was watching. The SL Heavy Knight, that one also kind of funny though. Let me show. I won't show the full video, but just this one only. I was talking about this one. It's kind of like funny in a way. The SL Knight know how to game the system. It's kind of like funny in a way. I recommend it to watch it. It's kind of funny. For those who haven't watched it, you guys can consider taking a look at it. It's kind of funny in its own way. You decide to ignore that because of the animation. Yeah, but if you consider like the story, it is quite interesting. I wouldn't say like I mean like the animation. I understand the messy one. I don't understand that. But if you consider like the story, it is quite interesting though. At least in my point of view. But at the same time, you guys can look at other. There are quite a lot of anime released every year. Like back then, I still remember like long ago. Anime was kind of like 1 month release only, like just a handful, like legit a handful, because we have to use a hand to draw. Now, because anime industry is very huge already, so there's quite a lot, not just one or two anime studio. Even though when they shut down one or two anime studio, there is also a lot more anime studio being created somehow, some way, somewhat. So in a way, when you guys consider it, it can also lead to more anime, because if you guys consider, like, right now in 1 month only, okay, it's not one or two anime. In the past, when anime was really one or two, then it was 5 to 10, then it was 10 to 20 over the years, slowly increased. Now 1 month, every day 10 to 20 to 40 to 50, like even the repeated also considered it. So in a way, a lot of anime are being released almost every day nowadays. And in the days, sometimes it's like back then it was actually released on like maybe Monday got anime, then Tuesday a pause, then Friday anime. There is a kind of like a huge gap. Now every day anime. No pause anymore. Manga is the same thing. Every day manga. So it's really kind of like anime and manga is very huge now in a way already. So can't really deny that anymore. It's the same thing for VTuber. VTuber back then when you first started out, there wasn't like a lot. Even when Kitana was created, right, there wasn't much viewers. Even though it was kind of like so-called it was starting to get trending, but the thing was that it didn't get a lot of people thinking about VTuber. They didn't got a lot of people thinking to become VTuber at the time. It was kind of like people thinking that, hey, you just basically you're just a voice actor. A lot of people tend to have a misconception on that end, even in Japan. So even I myself at the time was learning about anime and manga was also have the misconception of that, until when I doing it myself and I was like, hey, the definition of VTubing is really changed over the year. Because the thing is, right, when I first created my avatar back then, my avatar didn't have a persona. It didn't have a story. It didn't have like what is it about. It was a human. All these things. As time passed by, I just said that, oh, I was a guy who drank an expired chocolate milk and became a cat spirit. All these things, and it's kind of like lead slowly into that direction. The VTuber definition had evolved over the years to the point of that even when I have to highlight on the part that rotten apple is everywhere though. I have to put this. I mean, like, sure, you guys might thinking that I'm putting a lot of detour in here, but the issue on hand is that rotten apple is not just only in VTuber. It's just that in real life, in anywhere else, in any country all over the world, there will always be a rotten apple. So anyone who make noise over the internet about VTuber is bad, or VTuber is just basically people just using a model, all these things, they are just rotten apples. Even if they are popular streamer, even if they are well-known people, to me, they are just making noise. Whether we like it or not. Or I might be saying in this voice, they just know how to make the weirdest noise ever. They just making noise, just like how they like to eat rotten apple themselves with the cockroach and maggot and the whatsoever inside it as if it's nothing. There's one voice that you guys won't hear it often. You know it's just that back then when I started out back then, okay, I was using that voice was actually more of like, number one, practicing on my voice acting, and number two, it was actually one of the way to make people feel like I'm a lively person when I'm not. I mean, like, if you guys seen how the way I play game, I tend to play relaxingly, casually, simply, all these things. So it's really kind of like I think it's more towards like best I use this voice though. Sure, I mean sometimes I try to add lively because the podcast I can't remove that kicking voice at time. I can't really it's like a bit of the whole old habit kicking in at time, like kicking into that weird high tone voice. Whether I like it or not, it's kind of like old habit die hard, I guess. But other than that, that's how I think though. Let me tell you another joke. What is the thing that everyone do when they say the word goodbye? They go and have a good bite. That is one good. Oh, that joke that I prefer not to say it. Next time you're going to tell everyone else. Don't go and say it's Ame Gakita teaching you on this. Because that will kind of like, and this encourage people from saying the word goodbye or bye bye anymore, because they say bye bye or bye bye or they goodbye. They having go and have a goodbye. Oh, why am I teaching you guys? Yata. I started singing. Since when did I say I ever sing though? I mean, like, if I want to sing, let's say for example, Let It Go. People will say, let it go, let it go. Let me tell you guys, listen. The way I sing Let It Go. Let it go! Oh, let it go! Oh! Close the door! And let it all out! No, I'm Singaporean. If that answers your question. I'm 100% plus shop plus 10 plus warranty plus the keys to the stamp and chop again. I'm 100% Singapore. So you just make a wrong guess. I just happened to live in Japan for 6 years, so in a way I think it's actually quite interesting. I will have to at least highlight, because back then when I was living in Japan, I spoken to quite a lot of my different classmates from different countries when I was learning Japanese. Okay, some of them from Philippines, some of them from Indonesia, some of them from Brazil, Thailand, Vietnam, a lot of different countries. So I guess it's like when we communicate, when we talk not in Japanese, the one thing we tend to use is basically the basic English in a way, even though I speak right now normally. But the thing is, right, I kind of like also learn from their accent a little bit. So if my voice sound a bit like different country accent, yeah, can you understand that? That is an old habit that I didn't remove. Pearson, sorry, it's just that some people, when there is a troll, that is how the okay. This one I had to highlight. Back then, it happened a lot. I have a lot of troll as well. Back then when I was like starting out as a VTuber, a way for me to troll back on the troll, I was actually just being a troll. So even when people like earlier they're trying to say that I'm sad at singing, yeah, I will admit that I'm sad at singing, but I was just sing in the most ridiculous way as a way to joke back, as a way to and in another way you can take it as a it is considered in another point of view was an entertainment. Because the funny thing is, right, in Japan, I was taught by a Japanese person that you need to do stupid thing, and that is considered an entertainment. That was how I used to do a lot back then, because it was one of the way for me to constantly have some of my Japanese viewers watching me until the forced SA education against me that got me stop doing it because of that stupid female Japanese VTuber back then. But some of my long-term viewers such as Venisan or even Catram, like they hear it before back then. They know how well I can do it. It's just that when I do it, they keep laughing. Because it was to them, it was an entertainment, it was a comedy, it was funny. Because yeah, it's really kind of like between like hard to say. That's why it's like for me back then when I was doing it, it was actually considered like if it helped the viewers, you guys, to have fun, to enjoy, that's more than enough already though. That's why like Venny and the others, they when they watch me doing my live stream, they enjoy it back then, was actually it was because it was funny for them. It was an entertainment. It was fun. I mean that's the final thing that I put up though. When I put it here, my conclusion is just at the end of the day, it's more about having fun. Because a lot of people tend to make noise. But the thing is, right, being a VTuber, whether you want to reveal your face or not, is up to you guys. But no, I did not reveal my face. I only talk about the face review. I'm talking about this the topic, the posting of real life face count as a VTuber or not. I did not show my face. I was just talking about the showing of real life face still count or not, intended or accidental, whether they want to show it with intention or it was an accidental. In a way, if they keep using their 2D or 3D model, it is still considered a VTuber. But if they show their leg and feet and not their face, they are still considered a VTuber. But when they are, be it intended or not, just like K-Song, it can be considered that it is technically they are either a 2.5D or basically a streamer who just own a VTuber. All these things. That's all. That's what it at least is supposed to mean though. You always think VTuber is just making content of using avatar as representative of their present. Yeah. That was the definition of VTuber as well. Because Kitsuna Ai, when she used the word term VTuber, virtual YouTuber, it was technically using of an avatar. They don't need to show their real life face. And even when people are asking like real life face, is it mean that they are no longer a VTuber? The thing is, right, I have to use K-Song as the main second example, that when she showed her real life face in some time, or when her first review, it was an accident. But then after that, she decided to just stream half, sometime VTuber, sometime in real life, so it's kind of like half. So it's a 2.5D because in Japan, 3D is referring in anime term is referring real life. We don't use like what you guys see me is a 3D model. I'm a 3D in Japan. It's called 3D modeler VTuber. I'm not 3D VTuber. 3D VTuber is mean that I'm reviewing my face, but not my while streaming my VTuber. But if I call my that's the reason why they decided to say 2.5D. Using 2D and in anime term was real life. That's why they use the word 2.5D. Which K-Song is. But for About the Wheel, when she happened to remove the word VTuber and people making noise, it's no longer VTuber, all this thing. The funny thing is, right, I still say that if she still use her model a lot more, then she can be considered like K-Song, a 2.5D. But if she start posting real life stuff and using her real life face, then she's no longer a VTuber, not even 2.5D. Because she's more of a real life streamer who own a VTuber model. And even for Amali and a few who were actually a streamer or faceless streamer and then changed to VTuber, if they show their face and not their face at time, but mostly using their VTuber model, they are just basically translate. They can be considered like 2.5D like K-Song, but they are just basically translate to become a VTuber in a sense. But if at the same time, if in the case, hi, hello there, how's your day? If at the same time, as I mentioned, if they use their real life face more often than their VTuber model, then they are more towards streamer who also own a VTuber model. That's how it is. That's why a lot of people tend to over the internet make a lot of weird noise, all these things. But at least in my point of view, right, it's always like even when Circuit create the weirdest noise, all these things, it's really quite stupid in my point of view. Because if I have to highlight some of these really I don't really like to drag out some of the thing as a way to fully attack, but because the reason why I decided to do this the definition video, right? Let me pull up these two tweets so that it will be more easier for me to highlight the reason why I decided to do this. Because there is quite a lot of people always have the weirdest mindset about the definition of VTuber, all this thing, and I mean like I have to do this video as a way to explain like my point of view though, but I mean like it's kind of like funny that a lot of people over the internet always tend to have the weirdest mindset or different point of view, and in a way I'm not saying like they deserve a hatred, but to me, at least in my point of view, right, it's like most of the people over the internet is just basically deserving of a bonk on the head with a 3-meter backhand. Like that is how I look at it though, because the thing is, right, like sure everyone may have like got a good point of view or a bad point of view, all this thing. Oh damn, the person decided to delete their post. even better. But I will at least highlight the issue. Okay. So it's not really a one or two polls. I have to at least highlight this. And it does involve Bao the Wheel herself. So not trying to dox her because she revealed her face, so she's no longer doxing herself, okay? She revealed her face. So the one thing is, right, Empress Apple actually posted this about Bao the Wheel putting out face reveal jump scare or do not drink pee, all these things. So she's actually showing her real life face more, even though she still considered all these things. And she also removed the word VTuber at this point of time, even though in her name it's still called Bao VTuber. Okay? At least we have to highlight that. Now, the thing is, right, with how Bao had been doing in real life stuff with multiple face reveal without using the avatar, she has removed her VTuber model label from her profile, not only exists as an ad tag. After all the Cinder drama and skit drama and the mystery drama recently, it might be a move to rebrand herself, or evidently the shit audience had completely fallen for in real life appearance. So the one thing is, right, now we can definitely say for sure that for me, I know that I'll need to avoid her. Because I now know how Bao the Wheel look like. I know how she look like in real life. I will avoid her. At least that's how I look at it. And for people who like her, I'm not stopping anyone. I'm not going to say that it's avoid her, all these things. If she think that in her real life face people like her, it's their choice. It's her viewer choice, it's her own real life choice. But people who hate her, including myself, will just avoid her. Maybe some people who hate her will go and throw a rotten tomato, all these things, but I would just say don't. Just don't do it. But to her, I would just say it's not a good thing. But at the same time, I would just say that earlier as I mentioned, it's her and her viewer choice. I do not have a good impression of her, and I do not like her due to many things she did. I will not stop her viewer or anyone from supporting her. I just move on. That is how it should be. And the only issue on hand is that for the Cinder drama, anyone who's seen last time when I did the issue on the Cinder scenario, I also highlighted that while what Cinder did was wrong, I also highlight that it was likely okay at the time that I say that it could be a planned attack by artists, Shy Lily, and many others, including Bao the Wheel. I highlight that in that random chat, which is the reason why I say that I even though I have no good impression of her, and it got worse after that, do I care? No. That's her own choice. And when she start making noise, she start regretting it. I already say in my presentation just now, don't regret it. She regretting it. And people over the internet starting to show her the hatred for her. So another person called Circuit decided to remove his tweet, but in a way, he actually highlight about he haven't have a good impression of VTubing, all these things. So I actually say that at the time a lot of people are saying that, agreeing with him that he got good point, where he say that there is toxic people, there is rotten apple, there is people that talk badly about you, all these things. And that is the reason why I say that rotten apple is everywhere. But the issue on hand is that he considered himself a VTuber when he's more of a transit to be a VTuber, don't like the VTuber community and want to step out and throw all the stupid thing, which is the reason why earlier I mentioned this. Leaving on a good note is better than making noise. Which he failed to do so. And he think that, oh, I'm living as like a graduation, and when people start coming down and thinking about it and just think that, hey, this person is not a VTuber, why is he claiming to be a VTuber? He's just a tourist. He's just a whiner. He's just a crybaby. Which lead to him realizing that it is not a good thing, and he decided to delete his own post. No longer exists. It's just a bad thing. That's why it's like he would have a good mindset. Hi, hello there, how's your day? Like, most of the time, you live on a good note. Even if you don't like some of the people, that is the rotten apple everywhere. In any country, it is common. So even when people saying like we render or whatsoever, all this thing, right? Even when another person did say it about VTuber or 3 years or so, all this thing, like type the whole damn thing, basically all this thing, okay, a lot of thing, but in too long, for those who don't want to read, it's basically in VTuber community, the creator and the viewers, there are many rotten apple. In my point of view, not only VTuber community, but also in real life streamer community itself got the rotten apple, and we can see a lot of drama created from in real life. Rotten apple are everywhere to go. That's the reason why when I created this presentation slide for you guys to have to understand one thing. I have to in the end decided to just say that when they start making noise, like online noise or the thing, I say that rotten apple is everywhere. But the one who cry over it, as I showed you guys just now, he just basically is a whiner, is a crybaby. And even if he claimed that he's a mature adult, thing is, mature adult never go and start whining. You just suck it out. Okay? True lesson. Let me highlight this in the case that you need me to speak in Japanese. 私は日本人ではありません。シンガポール人です。ただ、日本に6年間住んだことありますから、だからあの時私初めて配信すると日本の名前使いになりました。ただ私日本人ではありません。Oh, that answer your question. 答えはわかりますよね。 Oh, you want me to play in Chinese? You think I don't speak Chinese? 我先跟你讲，我的公公婆婆他们都已经过世了，而且我还可以跟你讲，一个在我的面前倒，一个在我的人生选择自杀，我都已经受不了了，10多年过了。如果你想把我的伤心的事情代提出来，我请你离开，可以吗？Hope that answer your question. So in case anyone wondering, the Chinese, well, it's just basically that I won't get to see my ancestor, grandma, all these things. But the funny thing is, right, you guys have to understand is that for me, when I talk about this some time ago, my grandmother, they all passed away already, and one in front of me, one away from me, and all of them is already gone already. I know some people will be saying like, is it a sad thing? Yeah, one of them decided to take their own life. One of them passed away due to liver cancer, all these things. So it's really kind of like so damn sad that I mean, like, as much as I hate it, it's really something that I have to live by. But you guys won't hear me trying to gain sympathy. I never try to say that, hey, it's something that is worth mentioning. I just move on. Just like how my grandparents want me to move on. It is what it's supposed to be. It's 11:05 p.m. on my end already. For today's topic, definition of VTubing. I mean, like, at the end of the day, right, regardless of how you guys think about it, right, it's really just having fun and enjoying our moment. Like, even for me, you guys understand, I do enjoy chatting with you guys, having fun. Just even a hello, goodbye is still a good thing to. At least it's a communication. We are chatting. It's a communication. All these things. At least that's what I think, though. Maybe some of you guys might not like it. Then it would be best like, why are you guys watching? But other than that, that's how I look at it. But anyway. But before that, right? I mean, like, technically, anyone got any question? I mean, like, I can do a little bit of Q&A. That is related to this topic. Okay, don't ask me about anything else. Okay. Anything else? Any moment? I'm gonna assume no, though. I can't be sure, but at the same time, I want to at least ask just in case first. But if not, I'm just giving you guys around 3 minutes time, just in case. That's about it. Oh, that's an A. But at the very least, we all have I won't say like clear answer, but at least a better understanding on VTubing. At least that's what I hope when I do this topic today, though. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people that need to understand is that whether they show their face, whether people say like, are they still considered a VTuber or not, I still think that as long as they don't regret it, it should be the way to go, though. Because at the end of the day, it's just having fun. That's how it should be, though. But I don't know, people making noise over the internet just always tend to need to understand rotten apple everywhere. But anyway, since it's 1:08 p.m. Next week's schedule I will try to put it up early and then we'll see how. But I can tell you guys one thing for sure. From what I do know is that because next week Wednesday is definitely Hokkai Star Wheel, so Wednesday is definitely Hokkai Star Wheel. For Monday, Tuesday, I need to see how first. I might end up just playing Genshin only, or I might take 1 day rest because the thing is, right, my back is still hurting. Even right now, when I'm doing my live stream on this thing right now, right, I'm actually sitting right normally. I can't bend. That's why if you guys see the way I move, right, I have to move very slowly. It's because my lower back is the one, the butt area to the around near to the butt area, the one that you sit on, that area is actually not correctly bent in a way. So when I get out, when I get out, I have to do it very, very slowly. And it was hurting me a lot. Even when I'm eating painkiller, it was still hurting me a lot. It happened yesterday. Actually not yesterday, it was like the day before. It wasn't that worse, then it got worse apparently yesterday. I did my live stream as if it's nothing, but I have a really kind of like, yeah, as long as I sit down, it doesn't hurt, it should be fine. So I'm not sure will I do my live stream tomorrow or not. I hope you guys can understand that. Game dailies I tend to do in the morning, so you guys don't need to worry. I tend to play it slowly when I wake up, and unless I got work, then I will do it at nighttime. That will be a nighttime daily, but other than that, it's really more towards like I tend to wake up and then slowly play. And it's I like, if you guys understand one thing is that I play 5 games. Like most people tend to play within a few minutes. For me, I play 2-3 hours. Legit 2-3 hours. So I was actually asked, I won't say who, but I was legit asked to do morning live stream, like when I wake up and me playing game, other than my cat warning telling me to go and sleep already. Hi, wakata yo. So it's basically that I tend to play very, very slowly, and because I tend to take around 2-3 hours to complete the game dailies, I was asked to maybe I can consider as a morning live stream. I am considering that, but may or may not do it. I will have to see how, because the thing is, right, it will be more like some sort of like more, instead of like night chat, it will be more like morning game dailies thing along the line. But it'll be more towards like some might think that it's just kind of like me just streaming, normal streaming in a sense. So I'm still thinking about it. I'm still not sure yet, but we'll see how it goes. I'm still thinking about it, because I'm considering based on the OBS system right now. Technically, if I'm still testing a lot of things out to make sure that it's working normally, but I because the thing is, right, the funny thing is, a lot of platform now is trying to get different people to do platform all over the world, like Bilibili all over the world, in a sense, even though it's mostly for China in a way. So it's kind of like something that I can look out if I want to do multi-streaming. I might stick to multi-streaming, so which means that I might end up streaming in Twitch and Bilibili or Nico whatever at the same time. But I need to see how first. That one is still being I'm not a person who decide very fast, so that one is kind of like hard to see. But I will still stick to YouTube for now, so that will be something you guys don't need to think too much for that end. But anyway, with that being said, my cat want me to give it tending loving care right now, so I'm going to end my stream now. So hope you guys enjoyed the topic. Kind of like, at least you guys have a better understanding on VTuber. Not saying like a clear answer, but at the same time a better understanding. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys have a nice day. All night. Bye bye.